Welcome to your daily stock market summary from MarketSnap. Hey everyone, I'm thrilled to have you here as we dive into the latest action from the markets on January 6, 2026. It's been a wild start to the year with some big moves, geopolitical headlines, and plenty of opportunities for us long-term investors to chew on. So, grab a coffee and let's break down what's driving the markets today while keeping our eyes on the bigger picture for building wealth over time. First up, let's talk about the major indexes because they're setting the tone for the day. The Dow Jones Industrial Average surged nearly 1%, closing at a fresh record high above 49,000. The Nasdaq wasn't far behind, climbing over 0.5%, fueled by tech demand despite some geopolitical jitters. And the S&P 500 also posted a solid gain of about 0.6%. Even the Russell 2000, representing small caps, outperformed with a 1.4% jump, showing broad strength across the board. For us long-term folks, this kind of widespread rally signals confidence, but let's not get too carried away. Volatility is still low with the VIX dipping slightly, so a breather could be around the corner. Now, let's zoom in on some of the big winners today. In the large cap space, Micron Technology led the charge with a stunning double-digit gain, riding the wave of high demand for memory chips tied to AI and tech infrastructure. Western Digital also crushed it, soaring over 16%, as investors bet on a spillover effect in the storage sector. Other notable movers included Lam Research and Texas Instruments, both up nicely on semiconductor strength. For long-term investors like us, this tech momentum is a reminder of the secular growth in AI and digitization, definitely sectors to keep on the radar for portfolio allocation. On the flip side, not everyone's celebrating. Tesla took a hit, dropping over 4% amid ongoing concerns about delivery numbers and competition in the EV space. Energy giants like Chevron and BP also stumbled, each down more than 4%, as oil prices remain under pressure despite geopolitical noise. These short-term dips can be buying opportunities for us long-term players, especially in energy, where cycles tend to turn over multi-year horizons. Just remember, patience is key. Don't chase the daily noise. Speaking of noise, let's chat the market movers shaking things up. NVIDIA, despite a slight dip today, remains one of the most active stocks as investors digest comments from CEO Jensen Huang about reducing data center cooling needs with upcoming chips. Amazon, on the other hand, popped over 3%, buoyed by bullish analyst updates on its AI and cloud strategies. These names are core to many growth portfolios, and for good reason. They're at the forefront of innovation. But as long-term investors, we've got to balance these high flyers with diversification to weather any storms. Looking at the most active stocks by volume, NVIDIA and Tesla are, unsurprisingly, topping the list as retail and institutional players alike pile into the action. SoFi Technologies saw heavy trading too, though it slid nearly 8%, possibly a reaction to broader fintech concerns. High volume often means high emotion, so for us focused on the long game, it's a signal to step back and assess fundamentals over hype. Now, let's pivot to some of the bigger headlines driving sentiment. Geopolitical tension is front and center with the U.S. capture of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro over the weekend. This has sparked a rally in defense stocks and some energy names on speculation of policy shifts, though oil prices remain muted due to global supply gluts. For long-term investors, this is a classic case of short-term noise versus long-term impact. Venezuela's oil reserves won't move the needle overnight, so don't overreact to the headlines. Elsewhere, ETF investors are showing confidence by streamlining portfolios toward equities while pulling back from commodities, a trend worth watching as we position for 2026. Another key theme today is the Federal Reserve's stance. Fed Governor Stephen Maran is pushing for aggressive rate cuts, arguing current policy is too restrictive. However, minutes show most regional banks voted against a discount rate change last month, and markets aren't expecting a cut at the January meeting. For us long-term investors, interest rate direction is crucial. It impacts everything from borrowing costs to equity valuations. A dovish Fed could be a tailwind for growth stocks over the next few quarters, but we've got to stay nimble if inflation rears its head again. Sticking with macro trends, the tech and AI narrative continues to evolve. While the AI trade cooled off late last year, there's still optimism around names like AMD, with CEO Lisa Su calling physical AI the next big thing at CES. Meanwhile, nuclear energy stocks are surging on a massive funding injection from the Department of Energy, highlighting alternative energy as a growth area. For us building wealth over decades, these themes, AI and sustainable energy, are cornerstones to consider for compounding returns. Let's shift gears to earnings, as this week brings some key reports to watch. Delta Airlines is set to report on Friday, with analysts expecting solid results amid tight capacity in the airline sector. Constellation Brands is also on deck Wednesday, and Commercial Metals will drop numbers Thursday, offering insights into consumer and industrial trends. These reports can give us a pulse on broader economic health, which is gold for long-term strategy. While short-term price swings might tempt quick trades, remember to focus on how these companies are positioning for the next 5 to 10 years.
Get exclusive AI summaries of every earnings call. No more reading hours of transcripts. Access revenue segmentation, 5-year analyst estimates, SWOT analyses, and full financial statements. Plus track upcoming earnings, dividends, and market events with MarketSnap's calendar app. Create a free account at MarketSnap.com.
Before we wrap up, let's glance at some weekly movers among large caps. Symbotic and ASML are leading the pack with double-digit gains over the past week, fueled by automation and semiconductor demand. Coinbase also made the list, riding crypto optimism. These short-term sprints can highlight emerging trends, but for us, it's about whether these companies can sustain growth over the long haul. On the downside this week, AppLovin and Progressive took notable hits, each down over 7%, reflecting some profit-taking in tech and insurance. These pullbacks might be noise, but they're a reminder to reassess valuations in our holdings periodically. Finally, a quick look at sector performance over the past week. Industrials are crushing it with over 8% gains, followed by basic materials at more than 5%. Tech and consumer. Cyclical sectors also showed strength. These rotations can signal where capital is flowing in the near term, but for long-term portfolios, sector balance is key to managing risk. On the weaker end, utilities and consumer defensive sectors lagged, barely moving or dipping slightly. These defensive areas often underperform in risk-on environments, but they can be safe havens when volatility spikes, something to keep in mind for portfolio defense.
MarketSnap brings everything long-term investors use daily into one clean, fast platform. Explore stock financials, SWOT analysis, valuation ratios, 5-year analyst estimates, and our intrinsic value calculator, built with real fundamentals, not hype. All in a layout that's simple to read and ridiculously fast to navigate. And when you want to talk investing, join Nexus, our community where investors share valuations, posts, and stock discussions, all connected directly to the data. Use our Stock's Intrinsic Value Calculator to run and save real valuations with no spreadsheets. Share your analysis and valuations with others in the Nexus community. Get daily market summaries in video, audio, and article formats. Track the market with our earnings, dividend, and economics calendar. Our homepage gives you a real-time market overview with interactive heat maps, top market movers, and major index performance at a glance. Track daily performances, discover the most active stocks, and analyze performance across different timeframes, from weekly to yearly trends, and see which industries are leading or lagging. It's free to create an account, with optional access to premium forward-looking data. Try it now at MarketSnap.com and invest with clarity, not noise. That's a wrap for today's stock market summary from MarketSnap. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure to stick with us for daily updates and deep dive SWOT analyses to keep your investment strategy sharp. Whether you're navigating short-term turbulence or building wealth for the long haul, we've got the insights to help. See you tomorrow.